Full transparency, I have tried filming this intro like 15 times. So whatever I say this time is going to be what sticks. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nicole. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button if you feel so inclined and are inspired at any point in the video. Today, the video is going to be a little bit different. I feel very inspired and called to share this story. I have found tremendous good in it, and I feel like it's important to pass that on. So without further ado, this is the number one thing that I have learned from being molested and sexually abused as a kid. So a little bit of context. I was molested from the age of 5 until I was 15. That's when my conscious, could actually remember being molested. So I don't know if it happened earlier. I know it ended when I was 15 because that's when I broke my back. And you can't really molest someone with a broken back. At least a decade of my life, I was sexually abused and groomed and molested. And that has caused a ton of messiness up here, for just the easiest way to say that. So it has been years of therapy, and I've finally come to a point in my life where I can share these stories and share what good has come out of them. And honestly, it sounds crazy, but I feel stronger and blessed because this has happened to me. So don't think that I am playing victim at all. I just want to share what I've learned because I think that there's so many people who struggle with similar situations where they were sexually assaulted. And for so many of us, you just feel stuck in this mindset and feeling like you can't escape that event. And so I want to share what I've learned about this. And the way I want to do that is kind of depicting a story. So I'm not going to get super graphic, so don't worry about that. But I am going to share an experience that I remember very vividly from my childhood to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So I remember being 6 years old, and it was Christmas morning. And a little bit of background, my parents didn't sleep in the same room, not even the same house. They slept on the same property. My house was very unique growing up. We had our house was a double wide trailer, and then right next to it was this massive shop building. We called it the shop, but it had a bedroom in there, and my dad lived out there. And so it's Christmas morning, and it's my job to go and wake my dad up. And every time I was sent out to go wake him up, I felt this absolute dread. I really did not want to go out into the shop. I didn't want to go into his bedroom. I didn't want to go wake him up at all. I wish someone else would go do it, or that we could just call him and wake him up. But I was sent out there, and one morning, Christmas morning when I was 6, I remember I was wearing these silky pajama pants that looked like the sky. It was light blue, and they had clouds all over them, and they were so silky and soft and so cozy. And I walked out into the shop, and when I opened the door, there's this hallway, and then you turn and there's another room, and then the bedroom is back on the other side of this main big room. So bear with me if you can picture all this. So I walk in, and it's pitch black, and I get this feeling of don't go inside. And I pushed that voice aside, and I went into the next room, and I'm wearing my pajamas, my hair is a mess, it's Christmas morning, I want to go open presents. So it's I'm going to ignore this voice that I'm hearing. I don't want to go into the room, but I want to open presents. I'm a little kid, right? And I go to push open the door to go into the bedroom, and there's this voice again saying, don't go inside. Don't go. And I hesitate, and I don't want to go inside. And then I do. I want the presents, right? I want to have breakfast. I want to get it over with. So I open the door and I'm just standing in the doorway, and this wakes my dad up, and lay down. He says, come here, really quick. Olive can tell that I'm in distress. She came up to lay by me. I'm standing in the doorway and this wakes my dad up. And so he tells me, like, come here. And he's gesturing me to go lay with him in bed. And the voice in my head is so loud, screaming inside my head, screaming, saying no. Like, I will not go lay with you. But at this time in my life, it was unacceptable to say no to him. I was not allowed to ever be defiant or say no. And so I walk over and I get into bed. I am laying there completely helpless to what's going on, and I'm uncomfortable, and I know what's going on isn't right. Like, I know deep down that this feels not right. And I don't know if you've listened to Enya. Enya is playing in the background because that's what he would listen to when he slept. And so I would just try and focus on the music and try and picture myself somewhere else. And, you know, then it's like, okay, he's awake, and when we go inside, and then I have to just pretend like everything is fine. Like, it's Christmas morning, and it's not like this is the first time this has happened. And so we just go ahead and have Christmas. Start opening presents and having breakfast, and how dare I be ungrateful for anything, because I should be so blessed. The lesson that I've learned here is how important our intuition is. Your body knows exactly what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. There is a little voice that goes in all of us that tells us what we need to do. And what's cool about our intuition is that it's a muscle. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So if you keep ignoring this intuition over and over and over, the voice gets softer and softer and softer, where you get a decade of abuse, and eventually that voice doesn't say that this is wrong anymore. And then, you know, that's what kind of like opens me up into my drug addiction and all of these things. And so the lesson here that I've learned that's so important is to use your intuition and to listen to that voice inside your head, because it's right and it wants to protect you, and it wants what's best for you. So I want to ask you, like, what is something that your intuition has been asking you that you have been ignoring? Or what's something that you listened to that tiny voice and you benefited in the back end? Like, what is some tiny little moment that has happened in your life that you listen to that voice and your life is changed for the better completely? Or the opposite, where you don't listen to that voice and then just shit hits the fan? Because I guarantee you there is evidence probably of both in everyone's life. And that's just one of mine, where learning that listening to that voice could have saved me all those years ago. I know, like, I'm not trying to put blame on myself, or if I had done something different, then there would be a different outcome, because truthfully, back then, I really wasn't allowed to say no to anything. And I just realize now, when something comes up and there's this little voice in my head and I ignore it, I need to be more aware of, why am I ignoring this? What is the outcome that it's trying to get me to have? Because that's probably what I should be doing. So when was the last time you listened to that voice? And when was the last time you ignored that voice? I know this story is probably a little bit uncomfortable to listen to, but this is a real life example from my life. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope that this helps, and I hope that maybe you can find some common ground or similarities with this. Thank you so much for listening and for being here and subscribing to the channel and liking the video. I'm going to do more things like this where I share stories and the lessons that I've learned from them. Little side note, this is helping me cultivate my speech for public speaking, my new chapter that I'm on. And this is just one example from my life, and it is immensely important. I don't know if those two words go good together, but literally listening to your intuition is the number one thing that I have learned from being sexually abused as a kid. Listening to your intuition, it is a muscle, and you will strengthen it the more you do it. So I hope that this helps you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.